Hello Internet, it is Wednesday, March 5th, and this is your Daily Coffee with Wes Gardner. In news that presents a shocking twist, Fox News is still completely out of touch. Recently, there has been a new Craigslist killer named Miranda Barber, and she and her husband are now facing the death penalty for brutally stabbing a man to death who they met through Craigslist. Now, Fox News could have given any number of decent reasons as to the mental state of this couple to have done this, but instead they have decided to blame video games. I am doing my best to not roll my eyes through the back of my skull, but they have decided to blame Dark Souls because it was apparently in her Xbox, and the name Dark Souls will definitely represent some Satanist linkings, right? I don't, if you work at Fox, I mean, you're just an idiot at this point. I mean, I'm sure that there are some very lovely people who work there just because it's a job, but just by association with stories like this, you're dumb. Just by osmosis, you have been infected with this stupidity. And I've basically said it before, and the fact that I've had to say it before is mind-numbing. But basically, out of all of the sensationalist news channels, Fox News, you managed to be the worst. Moving right along, Florida is still super sketchy. A as-yet unnamed mother in Florida has been submitted for a mental health exam after driving her minivan into the ocean in an attempt to kill herself and her 3 children, ages 3, 9, and 10. Not counting the unborn child in her womb. Tim Tessinier, one of the first rescuers on scene, said that the 2 kids in back were crying, saying, "Our mommy is trying to kill us. Please help." After rescuers got the 2 children out, they were then crying about there being a baby in the car. And one of the really awful things is that after the mother was pulled out of the car herself, she didn't mention there being the 3-year-old baby in the car. She didn't show any signs of any emotional attachment to her children. She was just sitting there, emotionless, not saying a word, just staring blankly ahead. So, clearly, there are mental health issues to be looked at, and God can only hope that the 3 children get a new household that is better than the one that they were currently living in, because that is just awful. And personally, I can't speak as to what is going on with the mother in question, but she is not fit to raise children, and she should not. Moving immediately on, Kim Jong-un is still a scumbag. 33 North Koreans are now facing an execution sentence after being accused of attempting to overthrow Kim's regime. This accusation comes after the individuals met with South Korean Baptist missionary Kim Jong-wook and received money to set up 500 underground churches. Now, as of yet, I didn't even bother writing down the rest of the information going on because it's a lot of like he said, she said, very sketchy story stuff going on right now. But as far as I understand it, Kim Jong-wook has apologized for trying to overthrow the government and turn it into a more religious state, and says that the South Korean Secret Service basically put him up to it. But then South Korea has come back and said that China kidnapped the guy and made him go to North Korea. So it is kind of a very weird story as of yet. Regardless, that being said, whatever issues that are going on in our own country right now, and believe me, this is not underplaying the importance of the issues going on in our country right now, but you have to realize that things in other countries are significantly worse than they are here. At least you don't get lined up to be executed for basically visiting another religious missionary and trying to set up churches. And in a final story that kind of makes me want to just rip out my own tongue, we have yet another lawsuit being aimed at McDonald's. Webster Lucas, age 59, has sued McDonald's for $1.5 million after suffering undue mental duress after given just one napkin in his bag. He claims that his hands were left unacceptably dirty and says that I am an immaculately clean person. I'm gonna stop the story right here. If anyone describes themselves as an immaculately clean person, I'm just automatically just gonna assume that you're probably a douchebag. Lucas told the Huffington Post that after asking for more napkins, the manager said, "You have napkins in your bag," which is accurate, then allegedly mumbled words under his breath. Lucas then asked, after a little bit more confrontation, if it was because he was black, and alleges that the manager responded with a phrase that began with, "You people." This sounds like it is in the favor of Lucas, but I have to remind you that this is all alleged and has only been backed up so far by his best friend, who totally saw this all go down and is totally not in on the fact that they might get $1.5 million. So maybe call me a pessimist, but I honestly think that this is just a money grab, and that basically until someone else comes out and says something about this that isn't directly linked to Lucas, I'm not going to believe it. He then emailed the general manager, Leticia Barrera, and insists his mental anguish left him unable to work. And of course, this story couldn't go forward without getting more racial. Lucas also explains that he believes that McDonald's should hire more black people. I don't know about you, but I don't think I've ever been in a McDonald's that didn't have people of ethnic variety, if you will. Every McDonald's I've been into has had African Americans and has had Latinos. It hasn't been a pale white expanse of snow assaulting my face whenever I've gone into a McDonald's. And the final nail in the coffin that just makes this a unbelievable story for me is that Lucas was sentenced to 27 years in prison for sodomizing and robbing a man. Now, I would like to point out that he earlier said that he likes to be immaculately clean. Is this after you put your dick in another guy's ass? If Lucas gets this $1.5 million for an altercation that started because he didn't have enough fucking napkins in his bag, I give up. I mean, there's not even really, jokes to make about this. This is just fucking stupid. This is another guy just making a desperate money grab, most likely. If this actually goes through, I might just say fuck it and buy a boat and sail off into the fucking sunset, because I will no longer want to be a part of this world. But basically, folks, that's the news as it assaulted my eyes today, and I am glad to be able to share that with you. Hopefully the rest of your day goes beautifully, and you do beautiful things and are beautiful. Thank you for watching, folks. This has been Wes Gardner with your Daily Coffee. Goodbye.